People in their 40s. What is something that people in their 20s usually do not realize will affect them later in life? I realized that one day I would not physically be able to run. Even if I had to, one day it would be something impossible for me. Both my parents were able to get around, but neither could walk more than half a mile without getting winded, much less jog or run. It was a sobering thought. I decided to do a Couch to 5K program and started jogging running. The program was pretty easy, and when I was finished, I didn't know what to do next, so I kept running 5 kiloseconds. I had this training rule: I could have a rest day whenever I wanted. Maybe the weather sucked, or I was too busy, or I just didn't feel like it. The rule was, if I didn't T-workout yesterday, I really should work out today, and if I didn't T-workout for 2 days in a row, I absolutely had to that day no options. Over the years, it averages to 3 to 5 workouts a week. For the most part, one stuck to that, and eventually worked up to 10 kiloseconds, half marathons, and even a few full marathons. I have remained extremely active, mostly cycling now, as it's easier on my joints. I ride nearly every day, doing 200 to 300K every week. Very much all of this. People only think exercise is useful only for weight loss, but the benefits of exercise is independent and can exceed those of weight loss alone. For example, exercise can decrease your risk of heart disease by 30, but weight loss by diet alone will only decrease it by 10. Exercise also targets fat around your organs, first visceral fat. It also decreases inflammation, which is relevant in so many things including depression, anxiety, memory, and dementia, and decreases oxygen-free radicals, which slows down aging. I definitely had to make some changes when my cholesterol numbers were going in the wrong direction. Diet and exercise is important as we get older, and I want to make sure that I'm one of those still active old people. I'm now at the point where the choices I make will shape the rest of my life, and I have to remind myself I'm in my late 40s and not my late 20s. The good news is that I'm now course correcting, and I'm already out of a lot of the risk zones. But it's hard work to remain that disciplined. I'm 36 and in the same boat. In the past 4 years, I've quit smoking, quit using marijuana, only drink alcohol socially and sparingly, cut back on caffeine, sugar, learned how to eat healthy, and most importantly, have a 6-day-a-week workout routine that includes yoga, resistance training, running, swimming, and tennis. It has been incredibly difficult to get to this point, but every aspect of my life has improved because of it. I look and feel younger now than I did 10 years ago. Meanwhile, my friends who are complacent in their unhealthy lifestyles are already looking like they are 10 years older than they are and are beginning to have the medical issues to go along with it. I have tried so hard to motivate these friends to change, but they won't budge. All they want to do is go to the bar, drink, eat, and smoke, missing out on all of the great activities that fitness allows you. I'm afraid I'll eventually be going to their funerals rather than them going to mine, and sooner than they realize. I got mine from a vacuum cleaner. A fucking vacuum cleaner. I'll never stop being mad about it. Edit. People are asking, so I'll copy this from responses I gave further down. I was moving out of an old apartment. I think it was using the blade attachment and running it in the windowsills and corners. It makes a really nasty, sharp, high-pitched sound, and I drilled it into my ear holes for over an hour straight. After I turned it off, I couldn't hear out of my right ear for about an hour. The hearing came back, actually good as ever, but it brought the along with it. If it's any consolation, it's amazing how good hearing aids are getting. My grandpa worked for GM in the factory, and they didn't wear ear protection. About 10 years ago, he told me it had been 20 years since he's heard a bird sing. I don't actually know if he has heard a bird since then, but when I see him, I expect his hearing to be worse, but often it's actually better than the last time. They read so much less noticeable too these days. Also, as a small PSA, I had ringing in my ears for years and just accepted that the original iPod headphones destroyed my ears when I was 14, like the rest of us. Recently, I had a change in prescription meds and I stopped taking one, and I could not believe it when I realized a quiet room was quiet. Check your side effects. I had no idea. About 4 years ago, I developed tinnitus. The funny thing is, I did not recognize it immediately. I kept hearing this high-pitched noise and assumed it was my computer. I replaced my computer. The ringing remained. I turned off all electronic devices. The ringing remained. At this point, I assumed it was the air conditioner and went into other rooms of my house. Seeing which rooms were quieter, they all had that same sound. I went into a closet and shut the door. Still, the sound persisted. It took me about a good month to put it all together and realize what I was hearing was actually in my head. Reminds me of this quote every time. The best time to start saving for retirement was 10 years ago. The second best time is today. For years, I was telling myself that I couldn't afford to save for retirement. The truth was, I absolutely was able to. But instead, I spent that money on cheap food and nights out at the bar with friends. With that being said, I don't regret making those choices when I was younger, but the point is there was always a little money here or there I could have been saving. And had I put that money into a retirement or brokerage account, I'd be in really good shape right now. I try to live by the idea that just because you have the money for something doesn't mean you can afford it. Obviously, there are people legitimately living paycheck to paycheck or worse, but a lot of people think you need every streaming service or a new phone all the time, or that it's easier or somehow cheaper to order dinner instead if make it. Not to mention buying a car or house you can technically afford, but it takes every penny you earn to make payments. Sure, having nice things is nice, but for me there's nothing better to have than financial stability. And a healthy family, obviously. Junior high school. You're moving at the same speed as a rickety African train on wooden tracks. The years just seem to crawl by. College. You've just stepped on a diesel-pulled train that does not move dead slow, but at the same time, moves with a determined velocity. The first 2 years are slow. Then speed noticeably picks up in year 3. Work. You've just stepped onto the high-speed Shinkansen. You look out the window and the scenery is just sometimes a blur. Where did 10 years of my life go to? Where did 20 years go? Nobody tells you how fast life gets once you get into the world of work. I'm an eye doc. It S99.5 of people, to varying degrees of severity. If I get you to perfect refraction at distance, you LL need help up close. But I see fine up close without my glasses. Good for you, you're a bit myopic and can do that. Only case I've seen that didn't require reading glasses into their 50s had form fruste keratoconus, and basically had a nice built-in aspheric optics that gave them a bump of plus to assist with their near vision. I'd say that they were a product of good luck. Some people have tiny pupils and have increased depth of field, but to get there, they need good lighting. Anyway, light is your friend. Was coming here to say menopause, and I feel like no one ever warned me, so I was blindsided. Hope you are secure in your career, relationships, life, etc. Because periamino can fuck you up. The brain fog is horrific. You wake up at night looking like you were just in the ocean. Currently, I look like I'm 8 months pregnant. BC, I ate a single garlic knot 2 days ago. Got some cool rain odds too. Loving the corpse finger look when the AC is on too high. The kicker is that it's a different experience depending on the woman. My hot flashes are just my ears feeling warm for about 15 minutes. The health, wealth, and mental stability of your parents' grandparents. Your 20s are generally that sweet spot, where the people you love aren't dropping dead, going crazy, or going broke. By the time you reach 40, the people you have always relied on may start relying on you instead. If you're lucky, you'll still have 2 parents in good health who can take care of themselves, but you may also find yourself spending your 30s taking care of sick, dying, or destitute family members. Also, wear sunscreen and be kind to your knees and your back. Baz Luhrmann wasn't just playing. All those old injuries you had in your life, the twisted knees, sprained or broken ankles, surgeries, etc. Yeah, you're probably going to feel those again at some point in your life. Oh, and the fun part is when you hurt yourself, and it takes longer to recover. My knees are toasted from so many injuries when I played sports, and the multiple back injuries I've had keep getting worse and worse. Last year, I sneezed and threw up my back and was laid up for 3 days. There is a way to counter this. If you work out, keep doing it. I stopped doing any real working out when I was in my late 20s. I'm sure had I continued, this might not pertain anymore. 35F and divorce, but this should be the top comment. You don't just marry your lover, you marry into their family. Trust me when I say it's not worth dealing with crazy even if they say it doesn't affect them, because it does. If their family is a big part of their lives, it will always be. And if their family is a toxic waste dump, it would ultimately ruin your relationship over time if you don't get some physical distance from them. Nobody is an outlier. If they re-involved with them while you re-dating, while you re-engaged, they will be while you remarried. Drinking. Even drinking moderately, 7 to 14 drinks per week or 1 to 2 per night, literally degenerates your brain, thins your prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for decision-making, communicating, regulating emotion, and other executive functions. Edit. To everyone telling me 7 to 14 drinks a week could not possibly be moderate, it is the medical standard in the US. My entire point was that even drinking amounts deemed moderate by medical professionals can still seriously damage your brain and body. Moderate doesn't mean a little, it means moderate. It straight up changes who you are. Just had to physically restrain my little brother this weekend. He actually has 4 inches and 120 pounds on me, while his girlfriend packed up her stuff in an attempt to leave his ass. He's my brother, but not when he is drunk, which is constantly. He has never taken any responsibility for anything, not his DUI or the 5 jobs he has lost this year alone. I don't plan to talk to him again until he is in recovery. We live together, so that's going to be pretty uncomfortable, but I don't care anymore. He is only 25. I recommend the book This Naked Mind. It isn't anti-AA, but recognizes how problematic it being the default recommendation for alcoholics, but because like 90 of the stop drinking advice and programs pushed on people are based on AA, and it is frustrating because they are not evidence-based, they are dogmatic and have not evolved with the literal half-century of addiction research, and this isn't even touching on the religiosity aspect. Also, Stop Drinking the subreddit is not an AA sub that a lot of people find really helpful. Let me tell you about second puberty. Think you got all the hair you're going to? Think again. And look at your back and ears and eyebrows. Thought you were done with growth spurts? Well, you're gonna grow again. Just out instead of up. And things are just gonna start hurting for no reason. And you'll got a doctor and say, my knee hurts. And they'll say, yeah, that'll happen at your age. Try these PT exercises 3 times a day, and maybe it'll stop. The biggest thing though is time. You just never have enough of it. Like, do I even have any hobbies anymore? When was the last time I exercised? What did I do with all my time? Being an adult takes a lot of my time, and most of my energy. That you're on your own. One day you wake up and you're 40 and absolutely nobody gives a shit about you. The earlier you can handle real life, the better. The earlier you can make hard decisions without checking with someone, the better. Everyone who says it goes by quick is not lying. One day you're the old guy in the room and you need to be secure with being the leader because young people will look to you for answers. You need to have them. The earlier you can be comfortable having dependence in your life, the better. It's so seductive to think that your mentor or your boss or your favorite politician is going to figure out all of your problems for you and is looking out for your best interests. As you age, the clock ticks and you're like, Jesus, I really need to make something happen here. Whether it is starting your family, committing to a skilled trade or job, committing to a house, or anything like that. The earlier you can make those commitments and feel comfortable with them, the better.